Folks, welcome back to Tipped Off. Big episode right here. Kind of changing things up a little bit. We're not talking NBA today. I figured we'd switch the scene up, and I got a ESPN play-by-play commentator, Mr. Chuckie Kempf. How you feeling today, Chuckie? How's it going?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Luke.
Yeah, of course. I met him. I was working for production for an ESPN production a while back for football season, and I kind of was just observing the talent booth because I was a runner, so I didn't really have to do much during the game. So I figured I would like sit in because I do kind of want to go into some sort of on-air talent position, whether it be play-by-play, TV host, sports anchor, whatever it may be. Figured I'd be interested, and I actually sat in listening to Chucky over here and connected after the game, and here we are. So. I'm just going to run you through a couple questions here, and I kind of just want to get like your side of the story as a play-by-play commentator and just your story from how you became starting in radio and finishing up in ESPN.
Yeah, I think that was maybe the best game we did all year with the comeback, by the way. But
Really?
ton of fun down there. It was incredible. But yeah, I think I started my second semester in college. We had a student radio station that I started kind of working for and didn't really know anything at all, and ended up kind of liking it. And it was just very slow, easy process. And we also had a TV station, so it's kind of a mix of like shooting highlights at games and then in the radio booth. And early on, it's kind of like a seniority thing. So I don't think I did football. I want to say I called three solo football games my entire college life, and it was my last year. And it was me and another guy kind of split the home game. So I barely did any football, but I started out in the spring, just kept it going, a lot of basketball, and then was lucky enough I had played high school sports in my hometown, which was just south of where I went to school. And so the guy that did radio there, I think, knew me a little bit from having called some games. And then he was kind enough to give me a few games here and there, did some coaches shows for him. And his name's Dave Briggard. He's at James Madison now, excellent dude, and would not be here without him. But yeah, it was just a slow process, a lot of long drives to really tiny towns, but a lot of great experience for me.
The long drives is so relatable because my senior year of high school, I did traveling play-by-play commentary for 2A basketball.
Oh
And
yeah,
I would be so yeah, talk about small towns. Like I
yeah.
was going to the most obscure places, man. I 100% relate to you on that. So what made you decide to pursue it full time?
So my aunt did played softball in college, played softball for the national team, and then she ended up being an analyst for ESPN and Fox, and I think various outlets. And so I didn't, even when she was doing it when I was growing up, that never clicked with me. And then I think at some point, probably around my sophomore year in high school, freshman sophomore year, she was doing studio during the Women's College World Series in Bristol,
Oh
and I went
wow.
with her to that. And so that was like the wow moment for me, being in the studios and just, I mean, it was just like unbelievable. And so went to that, and then went with her probably twice to games and sat in the truck and just kind of watched things. Got to go up in the booth, a little bit of that, and just started to think. I think I really, it never clicked with me until I think I was ready to start visiting schools. And I didn't, I think I visited two schools, and it wasn't for sports, it was just a tour. And I went to Northwest, and they had a student radio station and a student TV station. And I think that's when it clicked. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but that would be really cool. Like, I grew up with Stuart Scott and John Butchergross on the Sports Center late night. Like, my parents would come upstairs, I'd turn the TV off real quick. Like, that was, I just never, it never clicked that I was like, I could be on ESPN. I don't know, you know? So at some point, I just thought, hey, I can't sit at a desk. I'm my brain doesn't work that way. So just gave it a shot, and I've always said like got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite literally a lot of what I hear from a lot of people. That's very common is that they don't really have it figured out until they're kind of just going into colleges, going to figure it out. Because that's actually how I got started because I wanted to go into coaching for the longest time for
Yeah.
basketball. Because that was the only sport I played growing up. I ate, slept, and breathed basketball. I everything I did. I mean, this podcast is literally an NBA podcast whenever I'm not interviewing people. And I decided, well, the reason I didn't want to coach was because I'd have to teach a class, and I don't like teaching. That's not how my brain works. But and then I've gotten to play by play for that high school gig, and I just fell in love with all things. So that kind of carries us into our next question. So, what was your like college like at Northwestern?
Really, it was, I mean, small. I mean, I'm probably gonna be wrong on this. Like 6 to 8 thousand, I want to say. Very much a college town, Division two. Luckily, we had a really great football team, and at the time, basketball. Guy named Ben McCollum, who now everybody knows
Oh,
who's at
mm-hmm.
Iowa, was our coach, and so that's who I got to
Really?
see. Like, I hear him say names like Deshaun Cooper and Justin Pitts and all these all these guys that he had that were so excellent now on TV. And I think it's funny because I'm like, that's who I got my reps calling games for. So it was, and it was a great sports school. So like the community was small, but the high school was really good. They used to beat us all the time, and the college was really good at everything. And so the town as a whole, I got kind of a big college feel from a very small community and small college because they were so invested in it. So um, really enjoyed my time there. The media department was also, I don't want to say it's small, like there wasn't resources because we did have resources, but it was kind of a small, tight knit community. So really comfortable in the sense that a lot of people you could go to and get help. And yeah, it was just invaluable experience for me with the student radio station, especially.
Oh wow. Yeah, so like they were able to invest in like the singular person because how small they were as a college.
For sure. Like we all obviously have advisors, and you probably do too. But I just think that like I don't know how it is at a big 30,000 plus school, but like my guy knew me. Like I'd see him in the hall, I'd go mess with him in his office, and so stuff like that I think just helped make me comfortable and gives you some confidence that you can try some stuff and it's not gonna completely backfire on you.
Right. So describe like the first time you ever did like play by play. Which sport was it and like which level and what was going through your mind like before, in game, and after? Like I want to hear all about it. First time experiences for play by play is always hilarious to hear.
Yeah, it's weird because I think you're just like you have to say yes at some point, but you're like you have no idea. I mean, like no idea what you're about to do. Like I'm kind of like I think I sat down in the booth and I was like, what do I do? What exactly is the like? You just kind of start going. You're like, I've listened to radio my whole life, and I think you're kind of this is what I think people sound like. And so it was a division. It was Northwest. It was saw a college softball game, which funny is that that's like my bread and butter now. Like I love softball.
Yeah.
That's where I feel the most comfortable. And it was a college softball game. It was a press box. You know how it is, like almost like bleacher, like kind of aluminum or whatever it is. The
Yes.
metal and it's loud and everything tings and all that. And like there's six of us in a line. There's no divider, which to this day is just I like when you're in a booth with people, you're like, oh god, I feel
You
weird talking
need,
so loud
yeah.
and yelling and screaming. So as a 19-year-old that had never done it, I was like, I probably sound ridiculous. And they were sitting all right there, and I think I'm just like quiet. Here's the pitch, and da da da. So I remember it very not fondly, but I remember it well.
That's really funny. Always first time play by play experience. It's one of my favorite things too, because I have very few people that I know that also want to go into play by play, but that's the one question I ask every single one of them was, what was your first time? Because I know I had a crazy experience, and from what it seems like, everyone else did too. So I guess we all just lived the same career. I don't know.
What was yours?
So I was in, it was the, it was a preseason tournament, and I had just gotten this job at, and I was nervous. I was like, the only reason I was there was because of my cousin at the time was like one of our that high school's like legendary head coaches, and they gave me play by play to follow that school around. And so I was basically it was basically nepotism the reason I was in there. So I was like, okay, I've got something to prove. And then but something clicked in me, and I think it was all those hours playing NBA 2K when I was in 6th grade and listening to the play-by-play commentators as I did
Oh
it.
yeah,
and I basically just mimicked Kevin Harlan, but not like actual Kevin Harlan, like what he would say in 2K, because it's just like live television, like there's so many different things that can happen, but in 2K, it's just like it gives you a script, and so I basically just went
Yeah.
off the script, and everyone said, "Man, you did great," and I was like, I guess, I guess."
That's
So,
funny.
walk me through a day in your life as a play-by-play guy. Like, what does your schedule look like morning to like on game day specifically?
Game day specifically, hopefully I have an 11 a.m. game because I'll go crazy if I have a night game. But if it's a night game, usually going to get up and nothing extraordinary really. At some point, like probably within 2 hours of me wanting to be at the field, like I would really, if it's a Saturday for football, I will watch game. I will just watch games all day. If I have a night game, I'll watch games all day long, just for general knowledge. Like you're gonna have promos and things in shows. So if we're promoting a team, I want to be able to say, oh, this is what so and so did today. So
Right.
watch a lot of games, but at some point, like very much turn the focus to our game, kind of like to have a few things like what are our goals? What are our main things that we're going to hit on, whether that's in the open or what we want to get in early and then follow as the game goes on. But just, I would say, like reviewing notes at some point, probably within 2 hours of wanting to be at the field, I want to sit down and start to get my mind pointed in the direction of just the game that I'm about to do.
Okay. So it's like you build like even when you're not doing like calling the games, you're still building your knowledge on the sport, on the teams and everything like that. So do you ever feel like you're constantly on the clock?
It's fun. Like people will be like, "Did you watch that game last night?" And I'm like, "Yeah, had I watched six last week in person. Like I that one I missed. So like I do watch a lot of games, and I think I do probably watch them differently than like the average fan. And part of that is like I'm listening to the broadcast. I'm watching the broadcast to see like almost more than like listening to a play by play, watching the broadcast. Like, oh, I really like that graphic, or I like what they did there. And so yeah, I
Yes.
think maybe a little bit, but it never feels like work when you're watching the game or when you're actually in the booth.
Right. And one thing that I've become a nerd of ever since I've started working production, because whenever I'm not working like as a utility for linear games or something, I'm running graphics for our ESPN Plus branch. And so every time, or I run camera, like for basketball, I ran under basket because I volunteered myself for that. I don't know why I did. My shoulder is still recovering, but it was super fun. But every time I end up like watching an NBA game, for example, to like take notes, I'll be like, man, that's a really good shot, or I really like that graphic. Kind of like you were saying. It's like you go in depth on not just the like the sport itself, but the broadcast, this and then like even deeper, like what I like to do is I like to watch the player's eyes whenever I'm watching like a basketball game, because a lot of the story is told from the eyes, and as
Yeah,
someone going into trying to go into something like play by play, I want to get as deep of a thing as possible, or a read
yeah,
as possible on like the
yeah.
game.
I love it's, and I love that you're getting different views of it too. Like that's I've sat in the truck in different chairs and done all that. So I was, yeah, I love that you're getting different looks at it.
Absolutely. So you kind of said this earlier, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. What's your favorite sport to call and why?
I really like them all for different reasons. Before this year, I probably would have said basketball because it's kind of where I got the most opportunity at like the highest level, like the best matchups or whatever it might be. I love softball. It's just like it's in my family. My sister played in college. My dad played fast pitch softball and college baseball, but my aunt was obviously a really great player too. So that's always going to have a special place. But yeah, that is a really difficult thing to answer. I would say, wow, I they all have different things that I love. That football game that where we met, where Arkansas State had that incredible comeback, like
Hmm.
that's tough to beat. Like when you get that type of energy in a football stadium, and I know it wasn't completely packed, but like there's just the more people that are in the building, the more people that have eyes on it, just feels bigger. So it's really tough. I'll say softball. It just has a special place for me.
Yeah, I figured like usually the origins are where you end up staying with on the favorites. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
usually how I am anyway. I don't know if your brain works the same,
yeah.
but
It's very close. I will say it's like one A, one B, and one C. But yeah,
oh yeah.
it's yeah.
they all have their own, like that's what you got to love about sports, is that there's something different for
Yeah.
everything. And I've been kind of a jerk towards baseball recently because I notoriously like, for my very few loyal watchers, like they know I hate baseball. There's nothing I hate more because I always say I go into sports television hibernation whenever MLB season hits and NBA season ends, because I have a lot of different hobbies, and like that's my time where I play through video games that I've always wanted to play through, where I go to the gym more than ever, hang out with friends more than ever, and it's like, why don't you just watch baseball? And I'm like, one, it's slow as Christmas, and two, I'd be giving up even more of my time that could be spent doing other hobbies to watch somebody throw 5 picks in a row and then throw 4 balls and walk a guy. Like,
I'm
it's not
invested this year because I think the Royals are going to be good. So I'm invested right
fair
now
enough.
with the Royals. But
The one
it's a fair point.
the one thing I love about baseball though right now is ABS.
Oh
ABS is
yeah, yeah,
so fun
yeah.
to watch. The new rule that they put in, and I've grown because we're broadcasting baseball right now at A State. I've grown to love baseball, or not love, enjoy it more. I can
Yeah.
appreciate baseball now. Tell me about the craziest game like you've ever called, like whether it be like technical difficulties or like a huge comeback like that A State game, or just like your color commentator just goes off the rails and says some outlandish things. Like what happened? Like walk me through that.
Ooh, craziest game. Trying to think of like when COVID happened, it really wasn't necessarily crazy, but it was very unique because I remember a game, I can't remember exactly what teams it was, but it was a pretty good game. It was like maybe West Virginia UConn, and this would have been 20, I think it would have been actually the fall or winter of 2020. So it was like we'd started the COVID year, but it was obviously the year after that the tournament got canceled. And we were doing the games from home almost exclusively. I think we were exclusively at home for that season.
Wow.
And we did that game, and it was like sometimes you're just kind of figuring things out. Like the live from home stuff was all new, and I don't think we had nat sounds. And so like you're sitting at
Oh,
home, like I'm basically sitting in this office calling that game, but no noise. I mean, I am talking to you like just like we are talking right now. And
that
so a
was
big
how it
shot goes
was.
in. This is what you hear right here. There's
That's
no crowd
crazy.
in my. So now I think the crowd was going through to the TV audience, but like I'm not getting that energy to
Ah,
help myself. And I've always been like, good crowd is my best friend because I don't have a big voice. So I need all the crowd and the best audio guy in the country. And that was a very unique situation, just trying to generate your own energy from literally nothing. I mean, it was like calling a game at church.
at church is crazy. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, it kind of takes me into it. What was like all of, for instance, how did COVID impact you specifically? Like not just the show where it was like Remy times five, but how did it like impact you specifically, like for your job, other than play by play?
I think it was a relationship thing, probably more than anything, because we weren't you just build so many relationships in person, face to face, at shoot arounds with SIDs, coaches, whoever it might be. And a lot of those guys now, like for the longest time, I did the Big 12 men, and this year I moved off of that. But a lot, if I see those SIDs, they walk by me in public, I would say hi. Like I would call some of them friends. Like I've really enjoyed building those relationships. And some of the coaches, I just had the TCU women in the NCAA tournament, and Jamie Dixon was there for the game, and said hi to him. And I had TCU a lot over the last few years, so that was probably the toughest part. Is like I don't think you get that in a Zoom. I think that
Hmm.
one, you're a little more guarded. Sometimes we're recording those, so you're not going to get necessarily everything you might get in person. And part of that is just like relationships. Like I might give you something in person, like I know you won't say this, but let me give you a little whatever. And that just builds that trust level. And I think
Right.
that was the toughest part probably during COVID, is not being face to face like we had been for a long time.
That makes sense. So, walk me through like your climb. Like you told me a little bit about your beginnings in college radio, but walk me through like your climb from there to like your time doing sports anchoring for, what was it, KQ TV? And
Yep,
then
yep.
I kind of had to do a little bit of LinkedIn stalking to figure out some things beforehand, but walk me through like how you came all the way up from there to how you got on with ESPN.
Yeah, so when I was at Northwest, there was a guy. Northwest has had a really good like kind of branching of people who have gone into media, and some of them haven't stayed. But the guy that I met was at KQ2, and he was their sports director. And so me and a guy who was actually I think the news director there now, was in class with me, and we met this guy. I actually think my friend introduced me to him, and so we ended up interning for KQ2. And we did that for probably a year. And I'm going to say I'm a sophomore in college, probably at this point. Intern for about a year. Their weekend sports guy was leaving, and the sports director, his name's Matt Tritton, who's still at North. He's at Northwest now in their radio department, or with their actual radio. He asked me, he's like, "Do you think you could do both? Do you think you could go to school and do this?" And I only had one semester left, so it's going to be like a 4 month thing, and I did that, and it was fine. I think I drove Matt crazy. He ended up calling it very shortly after that. And I just started to realize that probably wasn't the route I wanted to go. I just felt like there was, and it was probably because I wasn't very good at it, but it felt repetitive to me. Like and that
Right.
was, again, that's probably on me because the really good ones make it new a lot. So I was like, I just don't, I like like play by play is very spontaneous. You never know what's going to happen. It's always
Right.
different. You never know it's just a lot of stuff on the fly. So I called that quits, kind of bounced around a little bit, and I just realized like I just want to do play by play. That is my only goal. It's not that I just want to be in media. I love doing play by play, and I like hosting stuff now, but I knew at the time that's what I wanted to do. So I just kind of focused on the radio side, the local radio, and then I randomly, I'm not 100% sure what this came out of. There was a production company in Kansas City that asked me to do a Division II doubleheader in basketball,
Okay.
and it was ESPN 3. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. At the time, it was like, this is
Yeah.
huge. And it was. And so I did those 2 games. They had me do two more to conference championship somewhere in California. And I knew through my aunt who Eric Collins, who is the Hornets play-by-play guy.
Oh, I
Everyone
love
loves
that
Eric.
guy. Love
He's
him. Yeah.
fantastic. So
Absolutely.
he
Yeah.
does softball.
Okay.
He does professional softball, and so he knew my aunt. And so through my aunt, I knew Eric. I texted Eric. I said, "Hey, I got a reel. Would you look at it?" And I am not good at looking at reels, and I think Eric kind of feels the same way. And so Eric's like, he looks at it and he messaged me back. And he's like, "Hey, I think you're pretty good. Like, I don't have anything to give to you." And he said, "Here's some names." And he gave me like 5 names at ESPN. And I emailed all of them, which they probably get a million emails a day. And somehow, some way, a guy named Chris Farrow, who a lot of people at ESPN know, and he's not there any longer, but Chris is an awesome dude.
Mm.
And he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, you want to get on the phone?" And I was like, "Yeah, oh my God." And I was 23 years old at the time. And he calls me. He's like, "I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a couple games, and we're going to see what you got." And I
Wow.
was like, "Okay, awesome." And a couple of weeks went by, and he says, "Here you go. You're going to Nebraska on November 29th of 2017."
Oh
And they played
goodness.
Boston College in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. And I was sitting at the table. I'm not joking. Like, my hands, I was so nervous.
I
And we
bet.
started going, and I was like, I felt like $1,000,000. Like, the stat guy sat next to me. I'm like, who is this guy? I have no idea what this is. He was awesome. It was like, I'm like, this is easy. He's giving me everything.
Uh-huh.
So
It's
from there, it was like, I think I did 11 games my first year. I did like 14 my second, seven, and ESPN's been really great to me. Like, every year, they've always, made me feel like I'm trending in the right direction. So yeah, that's still going. Do it as long as they'll let me.
so following that up, now that you like say you got your experience in 8 years, it's crazy to think that 2017 was 8 years ago, by the way. That
Yeah.
that still is wild to me. But regardless, what has been your favorite call that you personally have made? Like, have you trademarked anything? Like, do you have your own personal hum diddly dee?
I do not have that. Eric has it all, man. He is a stud. I don't know how he comes up with some of that. His mind is crazy,
It's
but I don't. I think I have like certain like stuff that I don't think about. Like, I've noticed I say "oh my goodness" a lot. Like that when something gets me. Like, that's probably somewhere I go, and that's nothing special. As far as like specific games, I don't know why I remember this, but Iowa State, my second year I was up there, and Hilton is awesome. Hilton Coliseum is awesome. Like it is electric in there. It doesn't matter if they have 2 wins or 25 like they do every year now with TJ. But Lindell Wigginton was a guard for them, and he just
Hmm.
was kind of having a great year. And he went off this one game, and there was a call of his that I think he hit back to back threes, and like that's one that sticks out to me. And nothing like special, just like that moment. I remember it. Like Austin Reeves, I had him. He did
Oh
he
wow.
Oklahoma at TCU. He had 41 and hit a game winner, and he actually got in trouble because he did the neck
Oh wait,
slicing
yeah,
motion, and he
yeah. I
had to
remember that
apologize.
actually. Uh-huh.
That was that game was cool. Desmond Bain had like 37 or something against Baylor, I think, and they beat him. I mean, so some of those that come to mind, but nothing like I don't have the I don't know if I have the trademark call though.
Ah, hey, it takes a minute. I can't lie. I've been trying to come up with mine. I honestly don't think, if you want me to be honest, oh my goodness was one that I was cooking up for a bit. That's really funny that you brought that up. Um, but yeah, it's just it comes with time, and man, you still got a long way to go, I can tell. Like in
Yeah,
terms, okay,
yeah.
that sounded okay. No, that sounded so rude.
No,
Holy
no, I know
crap.
what you mean. I know
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah,
No
yeah. Like
worries.
you're young is what I'm trying to say. You're
Yeah,
young.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
appreciate that. I'm feeling older every day.
is there a person that you model your style of commentary after?
Probably not. There's people that I like I Jason Benetti, Adam Amin, Joe Davis all come to mind. I I feel like I actually saw a quote from Eric Collins once that basically said like he doesn't like he doesn't necessarily want to watch other guys, and I don't want to misquote him here, so but I feel like he was basically saying like he doesn't listen to other guys. He wants to be himself. Like he doesn't want that to influence him, and so I think
Right.
that like even listening to Eric, and I'm not Eric by any means. Like I don't. He's such a giant personality, and he's just so natural. But like that is Eric, and so that's why I think it. That's what I got from that. It's like I just have to be myself, and I'm not. You know, I just think you have to be yourself. Like if you're trying to force
Right.
something, like if I'm trying to sound like Jim Nance, like that this voice is not Jim Nance, and that's something I just have to live with. So I just have to work with what I've got. There are people I definitely like listening to,
Hmm.
but I don't think there's anyone I would say I model myself after. I don't
Okay.
want to insult that person either by saying that.
That's funny. Um, I one thing I've had to learn how to do is I don't know why, but I had to we kind of had this conversation when I first met you. I had to kind of like kill my Arkansan country accent to get into play-by-play. And I mean, on the show right now, I kind of let a little bit of it slide because it's not the biggest concern of mine. I mean, it's my show. I can do what I want with it. So I kind of talk I don't talk as twangy as I do. I'm not like I
Yeah,
don't have a country accent per se, but I do have more so naturally southern accent, I'll say that.
yeah.
So my biggest climb has been trying to get rid of the southern accent in my broadcasting, which so far I think I've got it down a little bit, but I'm still working on it. So, what's the greatest piece of advice that you've ever received from anybody in the field for play-by-play?
That's a really good question. I think there's a couple things that come to mind. Like I think that one of the things like just as a principle, not necessarily as like direct advice, is just like slow down. And I think when you
Mm.
watch, like when you are on the air, everything feels a little faster. Like especially at first, it doesn't necessarily feel like that for me as much now, but it can in certain moments. Like everything feels faster, and then like silence feels huge. Like 5 seconds feels like 20 seconds. But if you go back and listen, it's probably three. Like it's so it I think like part of it probably would be just slow down. Like it's okay to gather your thoughts sometimes. Okay, where do I want to
Right.
go here? Like what's happening, whatever it is. And then um uh, someone explained it to me once kind of as like an orchestra. And you're kind of like directing this orchestra and like with your voice too, like when it goes up, when it comes
Mm.
down, when things like that. And so I'm not perfect at that by any means, but I think that like just that was kind of an image for me that I was able to be like, okay, that makes sense. Like where I can take my voice inflection wise and how that can mean different things and be more impactful at certain moments. And like I don't want to go from this right here to really, really high. Like I want to
Right. You
build
want
to
to
that, and
crescendo
then
to that. Yes.
exactly. So I think those two things are probably just from a technical aspect of play by play. That would probably be those two things.
And then like any advice that you personally would give to somebody like say in my position or some similar position to where they want to go into the world of play by play or like on air talent, what would be the advice you gave to them?
I think you just got to do absolutely everything. I think one of the things that I did like not a ton of different jobs early, but like I worked for a few different places, and one of the things I realized was I think I just started making decisions that all led to this. Like
Hmm.
I thought I want to do play by play. It's not that I'm not going to do anything else, but I am going to prioritize this. And so I was, like my first couple of years at ESPN, even I was having to work another job, but like I knew if ESPN called and they needed me the next day and I was working, I was going. Like
Yeah.
it just had to happen. So I would say just if it really is your priority, your decision making needs to lead to that place that you want to get to, and then I just no job is too small. It's a chance to build a relationship that maybe you don't think is going to matter right now, but that person could always end up somewhere else or whatever. So that's it's stuff that it happens probably more than I think it sounds cliche, but I think it's happened to me more than I thought it would.
Right. I understand that. Like really just I think it was somebody because I talked to Matt Barry about this too. He was telling me basically to just call any sport that I can get my hands on, like whether it be like
Exactly.
it could be something as stupid as like underwater basket weaving. Like you just got to go with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so I think the advice that y'all two gave was like absolutely just on the nail. Anyway,
And I
thank you
think
so
this
much.
right here is
Yeah.
great too. Like you behind the mic right now is great. Like that's awesome. Like it's just another opportunity to put a mic in your face and say, okay, go do it. Like your interviewing skills, all those things. Like that's something for me that's taken a long time to develop. You're already at a head start. I never did this. I just think
Mhm.
like this stuff is so excellent. You being in those the colleges, like the D1 colleges specifically that have the ESPN Plus stuff and all like unbelievable. Like such a
Yeah.
fantastic experience.
I 100% agree. I mean, I don't want to talk about the fact that they took away my housing or anything, but everything
Yeah.
else, I mean, everything else is pretty good, I gotta say. But yeah, Chucky, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really been a blessing to have you on. Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing some more of your content and more of your games being called. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say before we call it wraps?
No, I appreciate it, man, Luke. You're awesome, doing great work, and keep it up. Hopefully, I'll see you next season during football.
Hey, for sure. Take it easy. All right, folks, and that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Had a little bit of a switch up. Once again, want to thank Chucky for coming on. And as for me, I'm Luke Dunlap, clocking out on a high note. Take care, y'all. Peace.